First contact gone wrong. The alien couldn't believe what the human did next. The observer's dilemma. Thulera adjusted the molecular harmonizer at her wrist, watching her iridescent purple skin shimmer and transform into the warm brown tone she'd selected from the local human population database. Her sensory tendrils, normally flowing like delicate seaweed from her temples, retracted and disappeared beneath a carefully crafted illusion of wavy chestnut hair. She examined her reflection in the small stream nearby, satisfied with the authenticity of her disguise. Scout Thulera, confirm disguise parameters and mission protocols, came Commander Lix's voice through the neural link embedded behind her ear. Disguise functional. Mission parameters understood, she responded, adjusting the unfamiliar human clothing, hiking pants, and a jacket that felt stiff compared to the adaptive fabrics of her homeworld. The garment's manufacturer called the material weatherproof, though it was laughably primitive compared to Lyrian technology. At 26 cycles, Thulera was unusually young for a solo Earth assignment. The Lyrian Observation Council had monitored humans from orbital stations for nearly a century, but recent advancements in Earth's technology had prompted more direct intelligence gathering. Her mission: observe and document human behaviors in their natural environments without detection. Her target area was a place humans called Silverwood National Forest, where her subject, a wilderness guide named Jasper Holloway, was employed. According to her briefing, these guides were knowledge keepers who protected natural areas and taught others how to navigate them safely, not unlike the ecosystem stewards on Lyria, though with far less advanced tools. The autumn air carried unfamiliar scents as Thulera followed the path leading to the central lodge where her subject worked. Her enhanced senses cataloged every detail. The complex aromatic compounds released by decaying leaves, the ultrasonic communications of small mammals in the underbrush, the subtle electromagnetic fields generated by the primitive human technology in the nearby structures. Jasper Holloway was having a challenging morning. At 34, he'd found purpose in sharing the wonders of Silverwood with visitors, but today had tested his patience. A group of college students had ignored the clearly marked trails. A family had attempted to feed potato chips to an endangered species of squirrel, and the park's communication system was glitching again. He was updating trail conditions on the ancient computer system when the lodge door opened. A woman he'd never seen before entered with an unusual gait, deliberate and precise, as if each step were a conscious decision. Her facial features were striking, perfectly symmetrical, with large, watchful eyes that seemed to analyze everything they saw. "Welcome to Silverwood," he called with his standard greeting, though something about her made him pay closer attention. "Can I help you navigate the park today?" Thulera froze momentarily, running the human's vocal patterns through her linguistic analysis module. His pheromone markers suggested no hostile intent, though his pupil dilation indicated heightened attention. "Greetings," she replied, having rehearsed human social protocols extensively. "I am interested in experiencing your forest paths." She paused, then added what she hoped was a natural-sounding addition. "For pleasure and education purposes." Jasper raised an eyebrow. Someone who was overly formal and slightly awkward, probably an academic who spent more time with books than people. He'd met similar visitors before. "First time at Silverwood?" he asked, reaching for a trail map from the rack beside him. That's when disaster nearly struck. As Jasper's hand moved toward his pocket, Thulera's military training triggered. Her enhanced vision detected a metal object partially concealed beneath his jacket, a shape her database flagged as a potential weapon. Thulera dropped into a defensive crouch, her hand instinctively reaching for the phase disruptor she wasn't carrying. A warning trill, the standard Lyrian alarm call, escaped her throat before she could stop it. "Threat assessment activated," she hissed into her neural link, eyes fixed on Jasper's pocket. Jasper froze, startled by the woman's sudden movement. "Whoa, are you okay, ma'am?" Thulera remained tense, pointing at his side. "Please identify the metallic implement you are attempting to access." Following her gaze, Jasper's expression transformed from concern to amusement. Slowly, he pulled out a metal water bottle attached to a carabiner on his belt loop. "It's just water," he explained, taking a careful sip to demonstrate. "For hydration on the trails." Thilura blinked rapidly, cross-referencing the object with her database. "Container for liquid consumption. Non-threatening." Her cheeks warmed with the Lyrian equivalent of embarrassment, thankfully masked by her disguise. "Scout Thilura." Commander Lix's voice was sharp in her mind. "Your behavior is inconsistent with human interaction patterns. Stabilize immediately." Taking a deep breath, Thilura straightened. "I apologize. I am jumpy around strangers. Past trauma." Jasper's expression softened immediately. "No need to apologize. We get all types here in the wilderness. Some people find peace in the forest, others find healing." "Yes, healing. That is my purpose here," Thilura agreed, relieved at having found a plausible explanation. "I'm Jasper Holloway, by the way," he said, extending his hand. A human greeting custom Thilura had studied. She stepped forward and grasped his hand with slightly too firm a grip. "I am called Thel." She caught herself just in time. "Thea. Thea Lawrence." "Well, Thea, since you're interested in our trails, let me show you some options perfect for beginners or those who might be a bit startled easily." As he spread a map on the counter, Thilura noticed a scar running along his forearm. Evidence of previous injury. The humans didn't have the technology to completely heal. How inefficient their medical practices must be, she thought. "Is your dermal damage permanent?" she asked, gesturing to the scar. "My. Oh, this." Jasper touched the pale line automatically. "Rock climbing accident 5 years ago. 63 stitches. Makes for a good story around campfires." Thilura found this cultural approach to physical imperfection fascinating. On Lyria, such damage would be regenerated immediately. The idea of keeping evidence of injury as a narrative device was utterly foreign. "Now," Jasper continued, pointing to various colored trails on the map, "the Cedar Loop is gentle, about 3 miles round trip with some beautiful viewpoints. The river runs alongside it for the first mile." As he leaned forward to trace the path, Thilura was distracted by another human anomaly, a strand of gray hair among the brown at his temple. Her people's genetic modifications had eliminated such visible signs of cellular deterioration centuries ago. "Your cranial filaments display color variation," she observed before she could stop herself. Jasper ran a hand through his hair self-consciously. "Started going gray at 30. Family trait. My grandfather was completely silver by 40. "Scout Thilura." Commander Lix interrupted. "Minimize commentary on human physical characteristics. Your cover is at risk." Thilura realized she needed to redirect. "It is appealing. Distinguished." Jasper's expression shifted to surprise, then a slight smile. "Well, thank you. That's kind of you to say. My observation was objective, not kindness-based," Thilura clarified, then immediately regretted it when Jasper's smile faltered in confusion. "Are you perhaps not from around here?" he asked, studying her more carefully. "I am from Norway," Thilura replied, selecting a sufficiently distant Earth location from her studies. "Different social customs." "Ah, that explains the formal speech patterns." Jasper nodded, though his expression suggested lingering questions. "Listen, my shift ends in 20 minutes, and I was planning to hike the Osprey Ridge Trail afterward. The autumn colors are spectacular this time of year. Would you like to join me? I could give you a proper introduction to Silverwood." Thilura quickly calculated the strategic benefits: extended observation time with a knowledgeable human specimen, engaged in typical human recreational activities. Perfect for her mission. "Yes, that would be acceptable. For my healing process." "Great," Jasper smiled. "Feel free to look around while I finish up some reports." As Jasper returned to his computer, Thilura examined the visitor center. A 3-dimensional model of the forest caught her attention. a primitive but effective representation of the topography. As she leaned in to study it, she inhaled a particle of some airborne plant material that her filtration system hadn't accounted for. The resulting sneeze momentarily disrupted her molecular harmonizer, causing her right hand to flicker briefly to its natural purple state before the disguise reasserted itself. She glanced up in alarm, but Jasper was focused on his screen, typing rapidly. "Status critical," she whispered to Commander Lix. "Disguise instability detected." "Acknowledged," came the response. "Temporary fluctuation due to environmental adaptation. System should stabilize within 1 Earth hour. Continue mission, but minimize physical exertion." When Jasper finished his work and gathered his backpack, Thalara had composed herself. They headed out onto the trail together, the human moving with casual familiarity, while the disguised alien methodically recorded every detail of their interaction. "So, Thea from Norway," Jasper said as they climbed a gentle incline, "what brings you to our little corner of wilderness?" "Research," she answered truthfully. "I am studying human behavior in natural environments." "Environmental psychology," Jasper guessed. "Yes, exactly." Thalara seized the convenient explanation. As they reached a ridge overlooking a valley ablaze with red and gold foliage, Thalara stopped, genuinely captivated by the sight. On Lyria, the dual moons created a perpetually lavender-tinted landscape. Nothing like this warm spectrum of colors. "It's something else, isn't it?" Jasper said softly, watching her reaction with satisfaction. "It is remarkable," she replied, momentarily forgetting her mission protocols. Their hike continued pleasantly, with Jasper pointing out various plants and wildlife, explaining their ecological relationships with obvious passion. Thalara asked careful questions that wouldn't reveal her alien knowledge but would satisfy her scientific curiosity. By late afternoon, dark clouds had gathered overhead, and a distant rumble of thunder echoed through the valley. "We should head back," Jasper suggested, glancing skyward. Storms move fast through these mountains. They had only covered half the return distance when the storm struck with unexpected ferocity. Rain poured down in sheets, and lightning cracked dangerously close. Jasper led them to a small trail shelter, a simple wooden structure with 3 walls and a roof. "Should pass quickly," he reassured her as they huddled in the shelter, both already soaked. Thalara was more concerned about her disguise than the weather. The molecular harmonizer was designed to be waterproof, but sustained exposure to electromagnetic discharges, lightning, could potentially disrupt it. A massive lightning bolt struck a tree not 50 meters away, sending a powerful electromagnetic pulse through the area. Thalara felt her disguise flicker, her skin briefly revealing patches of purple luminescence, her sensory tendrils momentarily emerging before retracting. Jasper stared at her, eyes wide. "Did you just, your skin?" "Atmospheric electrical discharge creating visual distortion," Thalara said quickly. "Common optical illusion during storms." Before Jasper could respond, a frantic voice called from outside. A park ranger was rushing toward them, rain-soaked and panicked. "Jasper, thank God." Lightning strike started a fire near Aspen Campground. Families trapped. Communications down and emergency services can't get through the flooded access road. Jasper immediately tensed. "How many people?" "At least 20, including kids. Fires spreading fast with this wind." Thalara accessed her geographical database. The campground was directly downslope from their position, with the fire and storm between it and the main evacuation routes. "I need to help," Jasper told her, already gathering his pack. "Stay here where it's safe. I'll send someone back when we can." As he prepared to leave with the ranger, Thalara faced an impossible choice. Her primary directive was to maintain her cover at all costs, but she possessed technology that could save lives. Atmospheric modulators that could redirect the rain to extinguish the fire, scanner capabilities that could locate trapped humans, force fields that could protect them from flames. Using such technology would irrevocably reveal her true nature, her mission would be a failure. First contact would occur in the worst possible way, during a crisis, without proper protocols. Yet letting humans die when she could prevent it violated the deepest ethical principles of Lyrian society. As Jasper turned to leave, Thelyra made her decision. "Wait," she said, her voice changing as she deactivated her vocal modulator. "I can help." Jasper turned back, confusion on his face as Thelyra reached for her wrist device and deactivated her molecular harmonizer. Her human disguise dissolved, revealing her true form. Taller, more angular, with iridescent purple skin that glowed with bioluminescent patterns and delicate sensory tendrils flowing from her temples. Both humans froze in shock. "What the hell?" the ranger gasped. "I am not from Norway," Thelyra said simply. "And I can save those humans if you will trust me." Worlds collide. "What are you?" Jasper whispered, rain streaming down his face as he stared at the luminescent being before him. "I am Thelyra, Scout First Class of the Lyrian Observation Corps," she answered, her voice now carrying a melodic quality impossible for human vocal cords. "My people have been studying Earth for 97 of your years." The ranger backed away, reaching for his radio. "This is insane." "There is no time," Thelyra said firmly. "Your communication devices are non-functional, and those humans will die without intervention. I possess technology that can help, but I need your cooperation." Jasper looked from the alien to the glow of flames visible through the trees, then back again. In the distance, they could hear faint screams. "What can you do?" he asked, making his decision. Thelyra activated her wrist interface, a holographic display of controls that hovered above her arm. "I can manipulate weather patterns locally, scan for life forms, and project force fields. But I need to get closer to the campground." "Parker," Jasper addressed the still stunned ranger, "we don't have options here. Those are families down there." The ranger, Parker, swallowed hard. "This is way above my pay grade, but lead the way." They raced through the forest, Thelyra moving with inhuman grace despite the treacherous conditions. When they reached a ridge overlooking the campground, the situation was dire. Flames surrounded a cluster of cabins where terrified visitors huddled on porches and rooftops, the fire advancing from 3 sides. Thelyra's tendrils flared as she assessed the situation. 23 humans detected. Atmospheric conditions suitable for manipulation. She adjusted her controls, and the rain, which had been falling randomly, suddenly concentrated into a torrential downpour directly over the flames. The fire hissed and sputtered but continued to advance. "Not enough," Thelyra muttered. "The heat is too intense." She made another adjustment, and a shimmering dome of energy extended from her device, expanding outward until it covered the entire campground. Where the flames touched the barrier, they extinguished instantly. "That shield won't last long," she told Jasper. "We need to evacuate those people now." Jasper and Parker needed no further prompting. They scrambled down the slope, Thelyra close behind. As they entered the campground, screams of terror greeted them, not from the fire, but from the sight of the alien in their midst. "Everyone stay calm," Jasper shouted over the storm. "She's helping us. The force field is holding back the fire, but we need to move quickly." The evacuees stared in disbelief, but the immediate threat of burning alive proved more pressing than their fear of the unknown. Under Jasper's direction, they formed groups, gathering children and belongings. Thelyra's scanner identified a path through the forest where the fire hadn't yet reached. "This way," she directed, her skin pulsing with bright patterns that illuminated the dark, smoke-filled air. As they led the group along the escape route, a massive burning tree crashed down directly in their path. Without hesitation, Thelyra extended her hands, and the tree lifted into the air, hovering for a moment before being tossed aside, as if it weighed nothing. A young child gaped at her. "Are you magic?" "No," Thelyra replied gently. "Just different technology." After an hour of tense navigation through the burning forest, they reached safety at the park's main entrance, where emergency vehicles had finally arrived. As medical personnel tended to the evacuees, Park Superintendent Regina Wallace approached their unusual group. "Jasper, Parker," she acknowledged, then stared openly at Thilara. "And who or what is this?" Before anyone could answer, the sky above them shimmered, and a craft unlike anything humans had ever seen descended through the clouds, sleek, organic in design, pulsing with the same bioluminescence as Thilara's skin. "That would be my commanding officer," Thilara said with a grimace. "Who is not going to be pleased?" The craft landed in the parking lot, its hull reconfiguring to form an entrance. Commander Lix emerged, taller than Thilara, with deeper purple skin and elaborate tendrils that signified higher rank. "Scout Thilara," he said in their native language, "you have violated our most sacred protocol." "Yes, Commander," she replied in the same tongue. "But I saved 23 humans who would have died otherwise." Lix surveyed the scene: emergency vehicles, shocked humans, the still-burning forest in the background. "The High Council will determine if your actions were justified." He switched to perfect English. "I am Commander Lix of the Lyrian Observation Corps. Which human speaks for this group?" Superintendent Wallace stepped forward with remarkable composure. "I'm Regina Wallace, Park Superintendent. I believe I speak for everyone when I say we have a lot of questions." "Of course you do," Lix replied. "This is not how first contact was meant to occur." "With all due respect, Commander," Jasper interjected, stepping to Thilara's side. "If not for her, these people would be dead." She revealed herself to save lives. Lix's tendrils undulated thoughtfully. "That fact will be noted in her evaluation. However, the situation remains unprecedented. Our protocols for first contact required careful preparation of your species." Superintendent Wallace stepped forward with remarkable composure. "I'm Regina Wallace, Park Superintendent. I believe I speak for everyone when I say we have a lot of questions." "Of course you do," Lix replied. "This is not how first contact was meant to occur." "With all due respect, Commander," Jasper interjected, stepping to Thilara's side. "If not for her, these people would be dead." She revealed herself to save lives. Lix's tendrils undulated thoughtfully. "That fact will be noted in her evaluation. However, the situation remains unprecedented. Our protocols for first contact required careful preparation of your species." "So you've been watching us?" Superintendent Wallace asked. "For how long?" "Long enough to know you weren't ready," Lix replied. "Your species still fights wars over resources and ideology. Your global cooperation is minimal. These are not qualities that inspire confidence in advanced species." A commotion from the parking lot interrupted them as news vans began to arrive, reporters and cameramen spilling out. "Containment is no longer possible," Lix observed. "The existence of extraterrestrial life will be confirmed to your entire planet within hours." Thilara moved closer to Jasper, lowering her voice. "I am sorry for deceiving you." "You saved dozens of lives," he replied. "That counts for a lot more than honesty about your home planet."